Let's get this show started. It is the craziest internet show, the number one longest running show about the UFL there is. The X-Fan Show, which is went from like 100 different names, right? Right, A-Train?
Yes, it has.
And there's my beautiful, beautiful co-host. Look at him. He's so beautiful.
Look, you see that?
I do. But A-Train, we have a very, very special guest. You know a certain A-Train, I gotta find it. You know a certain team has a special place in my heart other than the Battlehawks, right?
Yes, I know that already, sir.
What team is that, Arlington? Do you know? I gotta do
San
it,
Antonio.
Arlington. Keep going.
The San Antonio Brahmas is in the house.
I'm
tonight.
losing. Arlington, put me back up. I'm losing the fuel hat, and I'm putting on my probably the sweetest hat there is, my Brahmas hat for tonight's show. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who literally took, and we're going to ask him about this, but Arlington, I swear, this man literally took the 2020 Battlehawk playbook that Kurt Hunzinger did and created the San Antonio, the second best fan base in the entire UFL, XFL. He took the playbook. That's what I'm saying, but we're going to ask him right now, Mr. Jose Jefferson. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Jose, thank you for joining us. I know you were just on the girls' show here on Fuel 18.
You guys have a little show envy.
We did because listen,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Listen, I mean, I care very much for Amanda, and because unfortunately she's just right upstairs, and I have to go upstairs when we're done with this show, or she will kill me.
Right.
I like Amber a little, and I love RC probably the most, right? But you were giving some really good nuggets on your questions, and they weren't following up, and it was irritating me.
Oh, that's fine. I was just flattered that they wanted me on the show, and they do a great job. And like I said, anytime somebody wants to hear something that I have to say, I'm always flattered. So,
well, plus, I love all three of those girls. But Jose, here's the first question I have to ask you.
Sure.
You came in with Mark Ross. Right? You came in ground up from the Brahmas.
Yep.
Did you go back to 2020 for the XFL and the Commanders and kind of see how did you build that fan base in San Antonio?
Well, I mean, to say it quite honestly, it was really easy because that community is starved for football. I mean, you go back to Katrina with the Saints being there, and then obviously with the XFL with the Commanders being there. So it wasn't hard to do. All we had to do was get the right people in place, which I think, you had Hines Ward, who was a fan favorite. Plus he was already there in San Antonio with the Commanders. So once we did that, I think that kind of rejuvenated the fan base, and we did a lot of public appearances as much as we could, even being in Dallas. So I told this to Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia and even Mark Ross that there's no direct correlation with wins and losses and butts in the seats. And we proved that. We're 3-7 that year, and I think we averaged 15,000 people a game, which is incredible.
Yeah, the second largest in the UFL compared to the Battlehawks, but we were already there in 2020.
Right.
What I found impressive of what you guys did in San Antonio, again, a lot of it had to do with you. You got out into the community. You talked to the shows like the Smoking Guns podcast. Right. You talked to the guys at Horns Forward and stuff like that, Right. Like, what pivotal role did those guys, because I talked to them, helped them say, hey, here's what you guys want to do. You want to help grow your fan base? Me and Arlington talked to these guys. Right. This is what we did. Everywhere the team was in 2020, we were there.
Right.
Helping the team promote.
Right. And see, I have an indoor football and arena football background. So I understand that you have to get everybody involved. It's not going to work unless people feel like they have a fingerprint or a stamp on the team. And I know people make fun of the Green Bay Packers because they sell shares of their team. But in essence, that's what we were doing, is selling shares of our team without actually doing the shares, but we're making the team the community's team. And I think that's something that I impressed into Mark Ross, Heinz Ward, and the president or vice president that we had of business sales, is that we have to get out and have this community embrace us. And I still think they're missing the boat with not putting the teams in the community, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
No, and I mean, the reason we're going to get to you, because you went on and started some really, really good things.
I'm just responsive, and it's I don't know if you guys read book or novels or anything like that, but it's a Machiavellian principle of being available. It's all about availability, and if you're available to people, then if you're available to people, then that speaks volumes of your concern with what you're doing and the role that you're playing. So, I love Heinz, and he's definitely a fan favorite. But I mean, it gets daunting. I was with him when they took him through the car wash, per se, one day in San Antonio, and that was part of the reasons why I started doing some more things as well. I mean, I was just a director of team ops, and I'm not saying that wasn't important, but I was a leader in the building, a role. And I figure if I can give some insights and, give people a peek behind the curtain, or how the sausage is made per se, that would make people even more involved in what we were doing. So that was my plan from the jump. And Mark Ross was gracious enough to let me do it. And Heinz was happy to pass the baton to do something. And I was just flattered that people wanted to hear what I have to say. I mean, I have a coaching background, I have a playing background, but I wasn't Heinz Ward, and I wasn't the head coach, because at the end of the day, fans just want to know who the head coach is, who the quarterback is, and who the mascot is. That's it.
Well, it's funny you say a Machiavelli type attitude. So, like, I've done a lot of stuff in my life, right? I've read I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I'm not very bright, so I can't read very well. So I apologize. You're lucky I was
if you're hooked on phonics, and then
I'm not even hooked on phonics. Hooked on phonics don't even work for me. You're lucky I could even read you're lucky I could even say Jose Jefferson. I mean, look at my name. I can barely say my own last name, right? But I listen to like the 5 a.m. Club and the Art of War,
right,
and stuff like that. Like, did you read any books like that? And like,
yep.
Okay, like what was the mentality that you took from them books to take it into building the Brahma's fan base, and then the College Gridiron Showcase, which we're going to talk about in a minute?
The biggest impact of anything I've ever heard or read in a book was, and this was years ago, is that everybody wants to be number one, but nobody wants to be first. And if you're not afraid of failure, if you're not afraid to get bloody and get dirty because you have to, if you want to be number one, then be first. And I think that's, like I said, the mentality I kind of do with everything that I've ever done since I've heard that quote. But it just takes one person, to get started, and I've always been that type of person. Like they say, I didn't want to be around still people, still broke, still complaining, still hating, and I'm not afraid to take chances. And that's what you need to do, especially when you're not the NFL. Everybody looks at you as a gimmick sport, and so if they're going to look at you that way, then any gimmick that you do with it should be successful, because they're not counting you as quote unquote real football. So you can get away with doing things. And I think that's probably the mentality I carried into it.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned it. You mentioned it because
good, Arlington, because I had another question. To go.
Because listen, I was like, okay, so that has been my biggest MO is spring football kind of removing themselves away from the fall and the NFL and stuff, and to becoming their own entity. What do you believe would be the biggest thing to making the UFL the premier, even though it is, you know what I mean? Right, it already is that, but to make it the premier where they can remove the word gimmick and then make it seem realistic. What would be that's why it's been in my head for a long time, but I want to know, like, how would that make it the Premier League?
A couple things, and you have to remember this is just one man's opinion. First and foremost, you have to be in the community. Each team needs to go where their name is, St. Louis and Arlington and San Antonio, Memphis, you name it. They need to be there, number one. Number two, you need NFL affiliation. And I don't care what anybody says. And the NFL doesn't have to do it. They just truly don't have to do it, but they should, because at the end of the day, that if we're going to truly be a developmental league, then that's where the development is. And that's taking guys that were there and taking guys that are there. And it's very similar model to NFL Europe. I roomed and played with the biggest Cinderella story in NFL history with Kurt Warner. And I remember Kurt Warner being in Amsterdam, with a Rams logo on his shirt. But they need to do that. And lastly, they need to settle on a direction. And what I mean by that is the XFL was high dollar. And I say high dollar. If I tell you some of the budgets, you would probably like, oh my God. And they ran it like the NFL, to where the USFL was pretty bare bones, bubble gum, duct tape, that's what we're doing. And then they merged it, and now Fox took over. And I was a perfect example. They didn't feel that they needed my role, so they laid my role off. And it's not really about the football. And that's one thing I miss about the XFL was it was about the football. And the XFL, it's about the entertainment and being on TV. And anytime you go from 10 to 6 coaches and you get rid of ops people, and it just, they need to build it back up and run it like an NFL franchise. That's how you get rid of the gimmicks. So like I said, that's one man's take, but being on the inside and seeing it, those are 3 things that I would do right away.
And that's great. And, I'm really great to hear that.
Wait, Arlington, did you hear what he said? They really should have NFL help.
Yeah, I think so.
This has always been an argument between me and Arlington, Jose, is I was like, if this league wants to get to the next level, they need NFL help. So I'm actually glad somebody who's actually played in the NFL agreed with this idiot.
Right. I was on practice squads. I joke and I tell people when I played ass back, because when I stepped on the field, coach said, "Get your ass back," and
did you play in the NFL?
I was on a practice squad for the Cardinals and the Chiefs years ago. So.
Did you play in the NFL? Were you on an NFL roster?
Not practice squad roster years ago.
Arlington, were you on a practice squad? I wasn't.
Oh, listen, I was. Those are
from
back
a fan perspective. Is what I want to see, and I want to see it happen. And plus, I've gone, Mr. Spurge. I've got to do the research and looked at it too.
But part of the problem is right now is that the NFL already has a minor league. It's the NCAA. And they have to deal with that. My new role at FIU is I'm going through that right now, to where, you got kids coming up to you and wanting $25,000, $50,000, and they ain't even nice like that. And it's like, I would only want to give you $25, $50, let alone $25,000.
Okay.
That's just being real.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Okay. Because you were in the UFL, you've taken that experience. You were, even though you said you were an ass back, okay. Hey, your words, not mine. Your words.
That's the truth,
not mine. And now you're working for FIU. Told you I'm not hooked on phonics, so I already screwed up. So
that's all right.
There you go. So you're taking that and you're translating it. So let's explain to people what that new position is.
Yes,
that they are starting in college football.
Man,
it's a lot to unpack. It truly is, because it's not even playing ground. Because if it was, then I'd be making as much as the guy at Alabama. I'd have as much NIL as the guy in Alabama, and I don't. But my role is roster management, NIL management, scouting and recruiting management, player evaluation, setting up the department. My role is a little different because I have a coaching background. So Coach Simmons wants me to help him structure the staff, not so much like who's on it, but like he says, the reason why I got the job is I've done every job in the house. I've done it, head coach, O coordinator, D coordinator, this position coach, that position coach, operations, recruiting coordinator. And that's what this role is, a compilation of all of it. And trust me, guys, they're still painting the bus as it's rolling with this role. You can go to Alabama and his role is definitely a lot different than mine, or you can go to Coastal Carolina or Kansas, or even South Florida. The role it's not like being a head coach. Head coach anywhere is head coach. I mean, you get your coordinators, you get your assistants, you run your offense, you do your recruiting, whatever. This role, like right now, I'm helping our athletic director with NIL, which is probably not what a lot of coaches are doing or a lot of GMs are doing, because guess what? They already got it. They just do. A lot of GMs probably won't have an on-field role, which I will. Willie had said, about being a situational coach, on third down or analytics and helping with special teams like I did with the Brahmas. I was our assistant running backs coach and assistant special teams coach because I could do it. And Hines, being the first time head coach, he's been on a sideline, but he's never ran a sideline. So my role is going to be totally different than the next GMs, but in essence, you're running the program, with the head coach's head nod, but it's you and the head coach. And I remember reading an article that said, now the most important hire of a head coach isn't an offensive or defensive or special teams coordinator, it's a GM. And so I'm very flattered with the role that was given to me with it.
All right, so this is the X-Fan Show. We are here with basically the GM of Florida International University, possibly one of the greatest team operations manager in UFL history, Mr. Jose Jefferson.
You're too kind.
Now, look, so this show is about the fan. So we have a fan here that says this, and this is where I want to get your take, because this is what you're saying. He's saying that the NIL is ruining college football.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the reason why I say that is because a lot of reasons, and my reasons are a little bit more probably different. I don't know if you guys went to college to play sports or not, but
I barely got out of high school.
Well, I was fortunate. I was a football and track athlete, full scholarship, and I was a student and I was an athlete. And, I graduated in 3.5 years with honors, did thing, and was an All-American and whatnot. But now you're asking kids to be students, athletes, brand managers, and business owners. And when you do that, you diversify. Something has to drop off. And right now, I think it's academics. And we are not setting a good standard over how jobs work and how money works. Case in point, both of you guys are head coaches or head coach, general manager, and I'm the athlete. What do? You got the NIL, you get the kid and blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of hope for the best. Think about this. If I worked for you guys and this is just this regular job, say whatever corporation you want it to be. And I walk up to you and I say, hey, you're going to pay me my salary all up in front today. And then you're going to hope for the best. And then if I don't like it, I can leave, but I'm going to leave with all my money. And that's what these kids are doing. I mean, you look at 7 or 8 years of college. Dylan Gabriel, who I think is a good college player, but guess what? When you're 24 or 25 years old playing against 18-year-old kids, I sure damn hope that you can beat them. I mean, it's not impressive. It just really isn't.
Right.
And so now you've got these guys who are going to make more in college than they will in the NFL. And the NFL has the problem, and everybody kind of banged back on the NCAA because, well, look what the NCAA did, and they're terrible. Guess what they did? They were the blackjack dealer at the casino, and did this. And now it's the NFL's problem right now. When you got Dylan Gabriel that makes more money than Brock Purdy, who was just in the Super Bowl a year ago, you got problems. You have really a structural problem. And so now you got these kids coming out of high school, and the recruiting is totally different. It's not about relationships anymore. You know how they would bring kids and they put the jersey on and you pose next to the cheerleader or the car or whatever. They got negotiation rooms, and you sit in that room and you got to sit there and negotiate off of something you haven't even done yet. We don't even know if you're going to even make that team, let alone we got to drop you a bag. It just sets a bad precedence. But what they're hoping is, because back in the day, it was 85 scholarships. And now you had some teams, obviously, like SMU, who kind of did the Pony Express thing and got destroyed. And we've all seen the $100 handshakes. We've all seen the movie, The Program, and all that. We knew it was going on. And now all that stuff is coming to light now. And all we've done is raised the stakes. It's not 85 scholarships anymore. It's $20 million. And what SMU has it, Alabama has it, Florida has it, Miami, everybody has 20 million. But now what else are they going to add with that? You see what I'm saying? So it's always going to be something else. And there's a lot of money flying out, and we've always we're going to have a problem when you have a nonprofit organization running a profit organization. That's what the NFL was. That's why right now, I mean, look at the NFL office. The NFL office for years was operating as a nonprofit arm, but then you got your leader making $44 million, and the government goes, no, you can't do that. You can't be a nonprofit organization and your leader is making $44 million. But they figured it out that for profit, running for profit. And that's what these schools have to do, which is why they're begging Nick Saban to come in and be a president so they can break off. Do you realize the Power Fours make more money than the NCAA?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And can do that. So I wouldn't be surprised. And that would be a better thing to be its own entity. But the schools, they got to sell their product, and you got Title IX and all this other thing. And it's funny because the House versus the NCAA thing. Do you guys know who House is? The kid? He's a swimmer. He was a swimmer.
Okay.
That did this lawsuit. And the ironic thing about it is, think about the revenue generation from swimming compared to football.
Probably nothing.
There you go. So now all this money that this guy made a great case for is probably not even going to go to him for back pay or to his sport. And when it comes down to it, you're going to have all this money wrapped up into non-Olympic sports, because Title IX is going to roll right in there. And so what are teams going to do? Whack swimming, whack tennis, whack all these sports that they used to generate money for. The rifle team, that stuff's all gone. And you're going to see major power schools with 5 or 6 men's sports and 10 or 12 women's sports, because it's all Title IX is all based on numbers. And seeing that there's no sport that can match football numbers in the women's sport, you got to keep stacking them on.
Right.
And
now,
so,
Jose.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you're good.
Go ahead.
No, you're enlightening me, because I do got to say this, because I was always like, screw the NCAA. They're getting it. They're getting what they deserve with the NIL that they've been living off of these kids' backs. No, but here's the reason why I say this.
No, that ain't reason.
Tell me if I'm wrong, and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. You've had these kids that these universities have gotten rich off of, from their likenesses and all of that stuff. And did they, like you were saying with the NIL? Yeah, it's not good, but they need to tweak it, just like we had somebody else.
Right.
But is this the NCAA's problem? Is that they didn't really put a better plan in with the NIL, or is it just they're getting what they deserve? In my opinion,
it's not so much. I mean, are they getting what they deserve?
I think so.
I mean,
I think these kids are getting rich like they should have been a long time ago.
I hate you so much right now.
And trust me, I was one of those guys that, I was born at the wrong time, because, all of us who've ever played sports in college, we got to suppress our ego and just get the hate out of us, because we're not going to get that money. We're just not going to. However, you think about it. I didn't really suffer in college. I was on full scholarship and 3 hots and a cot. And I mean, I didn't want for anything. However, you're right. The university made money off of me because of who I am, what I did, the championships we won or whatever. And at the end of the day, they gave you a handshake. And then when you're done with eligibility, they're trying to usher you out the door, to get the next one. And so now they're paying for this. However, the problem is it's almost like, I don't know how old you guys are.
I'm 48.
Okay, and
I'm 40.
I'm saying I'm 54. So I grew up in.
You look better than I do.
It's the Black Puerto Rican thing, the blend.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say it.
I'm the last of the Bro Ricans, man. So
the Bro Ricans.
So it works for me. But I grew up in an era that George Jefferson, Fred Sanford, Archie Bunker, Blazing Saddles,
Love it.
Everybody was insulted the same and we laughed at each other the same, and as much as our differences separate us, they brought us together. And we really, I'm not a sensitive person, but it's the same with diversity. We overboarded it, and it's the same with this. They demolished SMU for paying Craig James and Eric Dickerson. They demolished anybody who was doing the dirty stuff. And so what do? We overdo it. And now you got the quarterback of Georgia driving a $300,000 Lamborghini. You got Dylan Gabriel at 3 different colleges now making however many millions of dollars. You got the kid Povia at Vanderbilt petitioning for another year because he can't play in the NFL.
Right. You got Caitlin Clark. You got Caitlin Clark.
Now Caitlin Clark's a different story.
Okay. What about the LSU?
Well, the reason why I say Caitlin Clark's a different story, she didn't spend 7 years in college, number one. And number two, she did something that not only that sport, but women's sports in general needed. She is the Jordan of that sport, or the LeBron, whatever camp you're in, because they never had one. I mean, and I grew up, like I said, I've seen Lynette Woodard play. Because one of the guys, I'm from Nebraska, and one of the gals in our neighborhood played against her, and we went, down to Lincoln to support, and Lynette Woodard was making people look ridiculous, and so you never see that again. And now you got Caitlin Clark, who, she caught the right storm. Because did anybody know who Caitlin Clark was 3 years ago? God, no. Unless you're from Des Moines, Dowling, or you're in Iowa. And then her junior year, she got a little fame, and now. And I don't care what any of the other. I mean, she's powerful when South Carolina goes undefeated, and they're still talking about Caitlin Clark losing the game before South Carolina. I mean, that's power, and she's handled it well. But there's still people hating on her. But that, once again, that's somebody who is not only number one, but she was first. And look how much heat she's catching just for doing something she loves to do. And now you have these kids in college that are making just ridiculous money, and they don't know how to manage it. I mean, who would buy a $300,000 Lamborghini? You're starting quarterback of Georgia, and the guy gets hurt, and now he's going to the draft, and now he's going to Miami. That doesn't even make any sense. You're not even going to school for school. You're going to school because you want to play. And so we don't know if he's going to graduate. And we know for damn sure he is not going to make another job unless he goes to the NFL to cover that car. Because driving $300,000.
What's that? The NCAA's problem? That can't be the kid's problem.
It
is the kid's problem.
Arlington, because he said when I was the one question that the girls asked him, and he gave the answer, and I got goosebumps. No, Jose, that's just the one question I wanted to ask you. Because of the organization that you set up, what the College Gridiron Showcase, right? You guys teach these kids the financial part.
Yep.
So these are the kids that are in college. So explain how you're taking your College Gridiron Showcase and working with these kids, making all of this crazy money with their NID. Like, what is it that you're telling these kids? Because that was the main question I wanted to know, because you just said it. This kid gets hurt. Right. What's he going to do with that $300,000 Lamborghini?
Right. We at CGS, and I know you guys are old enough that we had, you guys remember the NFL Symposium?
Mhm.
And they used to take all the rookies in and do that. Now they only do it like with a handful of guys or whatever. And in each team, I think, does it. But we have several seminars that talk about life as a pro, life after being a pro. What do you do with who do you need in your life? And what people don't realize is that when you become that rich, you need about 4 people in your life. You need an agent, you need a financial guy, you need a lawyer, and you need an accountant. They all need to be 4 separate different people. And they don't do that. You need to incorporate yourself. So everything you're doing, you're writing off. And what people don't understand is, okay, say you signed for $500,000. We had a kid at CGS. He was an undrafted free agent. He signed for $350,000 as an undrafted free agent with a $50,000 signing bonus, and which is more than the first pick of the 5th round. So we were happy about that. But get this. Let's start with him. $350,000. That instantly puts you in a different tax bracket. So you're probably at a 40%er. So you're at 50 for free. So you're at 300,000, 40%. So you're right about what? $180,000 from there. And now you got to pay your agent 3%. And it's not off of the 180, it's off the 350. So that's down. Then you're in the NFL. And guess what? You have league dues, which is $1,000 a month. And that's the union's going to get their money. So it's time to pay up. Then you're going to do something foolish, like buy a car or buy your girlfriend a ring, and you're not going to put it on time. You writing a check, bam. So that's done. And then regardless of where you get drafted, guess what? You don't live there. So you got to find a place and you're going to move. And guess what? It's not like you're going to live in Motel 6 or you're going to live in Section 8 housing. And you're going to see where all these other guys live, and you're going to try to find a place. And then you have to understand that, say I play for the Cowboys. When I go to Washington, when I go to New York, when I go to Philadelphia, I got to pay taxes when I go there. And so there's that money. And at the end of the day, guess what I didn't do? I haven't eaten yet. So that money goes away real quick. And that's what kids don't understand. And that's why I said, with that quarterback with a $300,000 Lamborghini, if you've ever seen that car, it gets 12 miles to the gallon. Number one. Number two, you got to change tires. I think it's every 10,000 miles. And it's not like they're rolling on some freaking Michelins. They're on
Right.
freaking Pirellis or something. So you got that. And then if you go to get that thing serviced, because he's riding that thing everywhere, you got to get it tuned up. And I don't know, I guess in Miami they got a Lamborghini dealership now, but how many people in Athens owns one for him to do that? So they don't think that way. And that's what's frustrating. And that's what gets me going, because it's like, I'm not jealous that he has it. I'm upset that he doesn't know what to do with it, because, okay, he just jacked his arm up in that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a little different. Not so much because of the surgery. He's going to get that repaired, bones repaired, ligaments repaired. It's up here. He's going to be a different guy, that I might get it again. And he's probably not going to be the same guy, because, we've all been injured before, and you don't do the same things after you're injured. And now he's going to Miami, and NFL scouts have said this. You're in a place for 3 years. You're comfortable, you know where the restroom is, you know the playbook, and now you're going to another place, and you may not be the coordinator's guy, and the guy's coming in. Look what they just got rid of. They just lost Cam Ward. Now, do you think he's as good as Cam Ward? I would venture to say not. He's a different guy, so that changes their offense. So, I can rant on this for days, because there's so many glaring things that are just not correct with what's going on.
I should have been saying this long ago, but this is the X-Band show. We're talking with Jose Jefferson, who is the GM of Florida International University, and he is also the executive director of the College Gridiron Showcase, which he's been speaking on a bit on this show. You just brought a Cosby Show moment to the table. I don't know if you realize it, but let's go. Going back to the first episode.
Is that a good
money?
Is that a good thing? Because how he ended up. I don't know.
Hey, listen, on this show, you brought up. Listen, Arlington. Look, he brought up 3 things me and you talk about a lot: the Jeffersons, Archie Bunker and Blazing Saddles. I mean, me and this guy have been through thick and thin together, and these are the conversations. Like when it's me and him on the phone, he's George Jefferson, I'm Archie Bunker, and then we look like Gene Wilder and Slim Picker and Siobhan Little from Blazing Saddles. I mean,
as you sat
crazy.
there, Jose, as you went and you said your piece, I sent him a text message saying, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, because of a question that he asked. I don't know if you realized it, but he came on. I accidentally cut you off. And because I did that, he jumped around and asked the question that I was going to answer.
Okay. I'm
so
sorry.
He got me.
No, it's good.
No, it's not your fault. It's just that he got me. That's what it was. And that's what I'm mad at. But that's the thing about this show. We like to have fun when we do it. And
that's awesome.
We definitely want to get insight, especially from what you're speaking on. You just spoke about this whole ordeal with Carson Beck. And that idea that we have a lot of guys, college kids, 18, 19, 20, do not know how to handle that. And then with your showcase, you're giving them that opportunity to, hey, this is what's going to happen when you are in this NIL deal that you're in. And then if you get to the next level, this is the other part. That's the crazy thing. When you mentioned about that 6-figure contract, and I went and did the math. They said that 3% that agent is getting, that's $10,000. He's getting off the top. Getting off the top.
And I think people don't understand the purpose of an agent, because these kids don't get it. And they think as soon as that they're done with school or whatever it is, I need an agent. No, for what? I think they misunderstand what an agent's job is. An agent's job, I mean, just plain speaking, is to negotiate your contract. That's it. It's not to promote you. It's not to pay for your training. It's not to pay for your food. It's not to get you a car. It's not to get you flash money. They do that on their own. I mean, to get you because of the potential of the 3% that they're going to get. And that's where the misconception with the kids. I played 5 years professionally, did not have an agent. Not because I didn't want one. Shit, nobody wanted me. Nobody wanted me. And what I did was just went to my dad's lawyer and said, hey, I mean, I just want you to read this. So I'm not paying them money and I'm going to get money. There wasn't any offset language. And I signed it. And that's what I told those guys is undrafted free agents. There's really not any offset language. Pretty boilerplate deal. Sign it, shut up. And if you can't understand that, get a lawyer to do it. Pay him his 3%, move on. Or go get a lawyer and say, hey, I'm going to pay you for 2-3 hours of work. Read this contract. Tell me what I need to know and ship out. But these guys think that this agent who just met you or watched you on tape and has no clue who you are is going to be able to promote you to these teams. And it doesn't make sense to me, because the good agents, they're going to do their research, their due diligence and stuff like that. But you got a bunch of people playing agent and, I know this person. They don't know a soul, and the body of work is in, the tape, and that's why, like with the All-Star game, I'm not a proponent of the game. I'm just not. One more game isn't going to put somebody over the top or not. It just isn't, especially think about this. You guys play football. Think about playing one game with a playbook that you don't know, with people that you don't know, in front of nobody that is watching it, and you're going to play at 100%. The story with it's funny. Baker Mayfield went to the Senior Bowl, and he was like went through a couple practices, the interviews, and then they said he wasn't starting. So guess what? He's played the second quarter. He showed up right at the end of the first quarter, warmed up, played the second quarter, and left at halftime. That's how important those games are. To the point to where Joe Burrow, who I played for Joe Burrow's dad when I played with the Barnstormers, he was invited to the Senior Bowl. He didn't even show up. Why should I go? I'm 15-0, just won a national championship. What is one more game going to do for me? So we get those kids that need the exposure, not the game, the exposure. We had 177 scouts at CGS this year, 177, all 32 NFL teams, all 9 CFL teams. We had the UFL there. I had NASCAR there. I had WWE there, Japanese X League, National Rugby League, you name it. They were there. And the main key word was job. Get a job. And that's where I try to push to these guys, because there's more professional opportunities to play football than there ever has been in the history of the game. Indoor leagues, we had them there. And these kids think that they're going to make Pat Mahomes money, and they ain't got Pat Mahomes skill. And I tell them all the time, you can't have NFL dreams with playground habits. And these kids, even coming out of high school, they have the same thing. They want to make 50K, but they don't want to put the work in because they got these playground habits. And that's me on a soapbox, so I apologize.
No.
Listen.
Listen, it's great because so I pull up your website and you sit here, you say you had all 32 NFL teams, you had the CFL teams, you had the UFL teams, you had NASCAR, you had the WWE, you had the Japanese football league, X League.
Yep.
So, because there's a bunch of questions I got because both me and Arlington are huge wrestling fans.
Okay.
So we're huge wrestling fans. But before that, I want to go back. I want to rewind the tape a little.
Okay.
You get done with the UFL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you start the CGS.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop you first. Let me stop you.
Go ahead.
You've been around for a while.
He has been.
I'm
CGS,
54.
right?
I'm 54 years old, and CGS.
No. I'm saying you've been around with CGS for a while now, right?
12 years. 12 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
That's why I
just
stopped
saying.
you.
Okay,
I
got it.
knew
Okay.
where
See,
you were going.
Jose, that's why he's the professional and I'm the unprofessional. That's why it's always
So with
been
that
that
being
way.
said, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to ask you this question here, sir. When you first got started with CGS, and where was your head at the time when you were saying, this is what I want to do, and I want to help out college kids and get to the next level? Where were you at when you was putting this together?
I went to a bowl. It was called the All-American Bowl, and a friend of mine was running it, and it was the worst ran thing I've ever seen, and it just was. It was an abomination, and I won't really go into the details, but I went down and because I was out of football for a little bit at that time. My boys were born, and that's another story for another day. But I was out of football for about 3 years, and he's like, "Why don't you just come down?" And I was doing some scouting work with Packers, and so I went down there. It was terrible. And so when we left, I'm a note taker. So I'm writing down notes. And I handed him about 20 pages of notes. And I'm like, if you ever do this again, you may want to look at some of this stuff. And he goes, well, if you think you can do it better, why don't you do your own game? And I'm like, light bulb, and it was an opportunity for me to, number one, get back into coaching. Number two, to serve the underserved. When I came out, I was a track guy. I played a little bit of football, but I was a track guy, All-American. When I came out, it was the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, and the Blue-Gray game. And I don't know if you guys remember the Blue-Gray game or not, but that was it. And so when I came out, we did the whole gala. You get the kids and you get the teams and blah, 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 and you get the coaches. And I wasn't coaching anybody because I was putting it all together. And we do the gala, we play the game. We had 15 guys to the combine. We had 10 guys drafted. Everybody loved it except for me. I hated it because I didn't do anything different than the Senior or the Shrine, except for it was me. The city of Mobile takes care of the Senior Bowl. That's coming out. The Shrine Hospital takes care of the Shrine Bowl, even though neither entity, Senior or Shrine, makes money. But me, I'm still a thousandaire, guys. And I'm fishing out all this money, and it got daunting. And, you've heard of a shotgun wedding. I almost got a shotgun divorce. It was deep, man. And I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this my way. Once again, I'm going to be first instead of trying to be number one. And when you do that, I got hit on a lot of ends because we started charging players. We built the numbers huge. I had a multi-billion, I'm not going to say their name, but you'll know who they are. I had a multi-billion-dollar business that runs about 3 or 4 days of the week, try to put me out of business because I figured out how to make it into a business. And they didn't like it. And it was a long battle. But guess what? They made me an officially NFL certified event because they figured out that I'm not going away. And it's something called antitrust, anti-competition. that is out there. And you know what? I don't have as much money as a multi-billion-dollar company, but guess what? Right is right. If you do right, you are right. And that's what I did. But my motivation was to coach, but I've been doing it going on 12 years and I haven't coached a soul because I was running it and I learned about hotels. I learned about rebates. I learned about food. I learned about travel. I learned about all this stuff. And guess what I was doing? I become an operator. I become a football operations person over the last 10 years. And that's when the XFL came. And Mark Ross, my interview was like that. He goes, you own this? Yeah. You run this? Oh, well, I need to talk to you. And next thing you know, I get a phone call and, hey, do you want to work with the XFL? Really? Because once again, doing every job in football. And that's why, with Willie Simmons, I coached Willie Simmons 20 years ago in indoor football. In fact, he was on the same team as Fred Jackson, who played for the Buffalo Bills. We had a bomb squad,
Love Fred Jackson.
And, I congratulated Willie when he got the job on a Monday. I didn't hear from him Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday night I'm going to bed because that's what you do when you're in your 50s. You go to bed about 9:45, and I get a text and it says, Coach, I want you to be my GM and director player personnel. Say yes. Okay. I guess I got a job now. And football happens in a matter of months or minutes. And CGS was the same way. It was a matter of months. It took years to build it up to where it is. And I remember the first year I said, you know what, if I can get a fourth of the league, I get 8 teams, I'll be happy. We got 22 and we weren't ready for it. God, we weren't ready for it. And it was just an abomination. And I think back and I laugh, and we have scouts that have been with us from day one, and they just marvel at how we've gone from, infancy to I don't break any bones about it. We're the top 3 all-star games in the country. I'm the largest postseason all-star college event outside of the combine in the country. And it's just me. I don't have a corporation. It's me running it, paying the bills, doing those things. And I have a great staff that helps with the shell, but
giving them goosebumps is what that means.
Well, hold on, Arlington, because this is the reason I wanted you on. Because me and Arlington started Fuel Sports Network way back in 2019 with a little bitty show called XFL STL Talk Show. And all we did was talk about the Battlehawks. Then Arlington moves to Houston for some opportunities. So then we change it. Well, then we had not a billion-dollar league, but a multi-billion-dollar league. Say, you guys can't use XFL STL anymore.
Right.
And you guys got to change your name. If you do that, we'll work with you. Well, okay, we did it. Really didn't work with us, but that's beside the point. Who cares?
They never do. They just want to. They want to regulate you. That's all.
Right. Water under the bridge. You can't regulate me, as you can see. But what I find so fascinating to you, and Arlington, you say this to me all the time. I say, I want us to be number one. Arlington goes, why? We were the first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why be number one? We were the first. Let everybody else copy us.
That's right.
Let's help everybody. Let's show them the way. Exactly. If they do it better than us, then let them do it better than us.
Right.
Shut up, Arlington. Shut up.
I just want you to look at me and you want to see my face as I'm looking at it. I'm not looking
so I'm asking you as a guy who said you don't want to be first, you want it to be first. How do you keep that mindset to where you're like, I just want to be first, not number one? How do you keep that mindset?
I'm a creator, so I'm always like this job with FIU. There's no blueprint to what I'm doing. And I remember talking to the staff, and we have a great staff, and Willie made me the old man in the building, as he said, by design. Seriously, by design, he said that. And I am the old man in the building. There's no one else older than me in that whole entire football building. And I thought for sure there'd be like a maintenance person or something, but nope, it's me. And the thing is that drives me is that I know everything I'm doing is one of two things. Somebody's watching me and wanting to do what I do. So I take that very seriously. And number two, everything I'm doing is groundbreaking, from answering an email to a kid to meeting with the AD. And I will tell you, we have certain deals going on right now with NIL that are groundbreaking, and everything we're doing is just fresh and brand new. And that's gotta motivate you to be like, man, I mean, no one's doing this. I'm not copying anybody. I wake up in the morning and if if it comes to it's like CGS. When you see CGS now, if you were ever to look at CGS, everything you see, I thought about doing. We just picked up a streaming deal. And I don't know if you guys are hockey fans, but the Dallas Stars teamed up with the Anaheim Ducks, and they have Victory Plus, and it's a streaming network. And one of my staff members who does our filming used to work for the Stars. And so instead of them just filming it during the season, they want to do it year round. But guess what? They don't have any content. Nobody wants to watch hockey during football season. So guess what? They picked up CGS. And now we're streaming on Victory Plus, and it's free to apply for. And every time you go on there, you get to see CGS. And that's huge for me because I wanted to be on TV. And we have 5 documentaries that are out, and they're just amazing. And I say that amazing because it's not about me. The stories and everything, and you get to see how the sausage is made. And I think everybody appreciates that because, everybody always wants to ask, but no one wants to give you that insider.
Okay. Jose, I'm going to put you on the spot right now because Fuel Sports Network has its own streaming app, and you got your documentaries, and we'd be more than willing to stream them for you on our network.
And now it's a Victory Plus thing. I'll ask them, but I mean,
damn it. I was trying. Listen, it was like, no, he said he had the 5 documentaries. All I'm saying, it's like Michael Jordan said, you miss 100 shots that you don't take.
That's right.
So I just figured take the shot.
Well, go to Victory Plus, and if you ever want to know about CGS, look at the documentaries and see how we've grown over the past 5 years, and because we started, I think it was 2020 with a documentary, and they just keep doing them, and it's awesome. There's things on the cutting room floor that are making Victory Plus right now, so it's awesome. Like there he goes right now.
Welcome to the live that we do there, Jose. We're somewhat professional, but not really professional. You know what I mean? No, like what Sandy said right here. She goes, when me and Arlington started the STL talk show, how many of them were there compared to what there is today?
Right.
And Arlington will vouch. And this is the reason why I wanted to have you on, because of some of the stuff you said with the girls. And if you haven't seen that interview, go back to the 18 with RC on Fuel Sports Network. You can watch Jose. It's a little different interview than what we're doing here.
That's the reason why I didn't watch it, because I wanted to tell you, listen to me before you get any girls. I know y'all watching this show right now. I didn't watch it because I knew at some point we were going to have a chance to do Jose, and I wanted to make sure it was completely different than what they had, because we have the same guests, but you can have an entirely different show.
Very true.
And that's what we were going with. So trust me, I'm going to go back and watch it. It's just I didn't want to watch it because of this reason.
Jose, give my partner up there some advice, because I go to sleep, but a million things going through my head. I wake up, say, "Ooh, I want to try this. I want to try this. I want to try this." And he goes, "Can we just get one thing done first, and instead of trying to do 100 different things?" Will you explain to him it's okay to grow and to fail?
Well, go ahead. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say this. You seen my shirt? It says I never finish anything, and it cuts off. I'm like, I want to finish one thing first before I jump to the next thing.
So you guys, you guys are very similar to me and Craig Red, who's co-founder of CGS, and he's my director of operation. And my light's kind of going crazy here, so I apologize.
It's all good.
But there's 2 types of people in this world. My wife hates when I say this, but there's 2 types of people in this world. There's sick-em people, and then there's woe people. And I can tell right now, Arlington, you're a sick-em person, and Spurs, you're a woe person. And there's nothing wrong with either one. Like, when I say like, and I can imagine when I say this, both of you are going to laugh because it's probably describing you. You're Arlington, you're a Sikkim person. If Spurge tells you to do something, you're going to do it. And he's motivating you that way. And he's saying Sikkim,
flipped.
Is it flipped? Because
it's
the woe person, no, it's not a woe as in stop. The woe person, he's the woe person because he wants to do so much and he gets so far in front. You're saying, whoa, stop.
Oh, okay.
And so
I got you.
that's what I'm saying. You're more the Sikkim person where you're like, okay, I'll do it, but you're going to have to motivate me to do it. Like you said, the 100 things. And then Spurge is saying, I want to do this. I can imagine when he was a kid, they're like, what do you want to do? And you go, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a president. I want to play football and I want to run the circus. And you're like, whoa. And so that's why I'm saying,
like Scroll just ran by.
Exactly. So I'm a whoa person. I mean, I'm very, very much, and I through the years, I've gotten better to where I've slowed down and realized.
How do you? Because I haven't. I'm 48 and I still haven't.
You have to tell yourself that, and it's an ego thing, that not everybody is caught up to your mental notes. They just aren't. And I get that way. And if Craig Red was on this show today, he'd be nodding his head 100% that like everything that's happening now with CGS, I wanted it to happen like 10 years ago. And I'm like, no, we got to do this, and we got to do it. And he's like, whoa. And I'm like, no, I don't want to whoa, because it's like asking a magician to reveal his trick. That's the type of person I am. I want to know.
What's up, what?
So I'm just that type of person.
So explain to Arlington. See that, and I tried to explain to him all the time. Like, dude, we got to get it done. We got to do it. We got to do it. Just explain to them. It's very hard. We just have to say it to get it out.
It is,
and it helps us.
And I'm not speaking for you, Spurge, but I'm just saying I'm the type of person to where if I put it out in the universe, I know it's going to happen. Or I try to speak it into existence. So the more I say it, you try to manifest it a little bit. So that's why it's like, we got to do this, because now it's already out there. I mean, I wish I'd say I could win the lottery, but I don't play the lottery. So I mean, it doesn't work.
There's one thing I want to say, Jose. You said something at the beginning of this interview that I want this buffoon to do. You said, listen, this is what you said. The day that you went to the All-American Bowl, you said you wrote down 20 pages of notes.
Yes.
And then when he went back to your friend and he said, well, this is what I want you to do better. He said, you do that.
Right.
That's what I want him to do, is write the stuff down.
Right.
You see it. If you see it in front of you,
right,
you'll know. You have to see it. Sight, sir.
Right. Sight. And it's but see, I do that as well too. And I don't sleep well. I don't think I've slept well since the 70s. And that's just being real. I mean, I say that honestly, but it does kind of sound like a joke, but it is true. So I keep a pen and pad by my bed and I write. And it's to the point to where I can imagine I would probably be able to take those notes and be able to script the book because of some of the stuff that's out there. But you got to brain dump it. You really got to because if not, you're going to drive yourself. You're going to get neurotic, and that's one thing I don't want to be, is neurotic.
Jose, would you like to be my mentor?
For real? Hey, listen, you just motivated.
It's funny because like the only time that I'm actually at ease and I'm at calm is when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Because that's it. It's the only time I'm at ease because I know I have to focus on the road, even though I see everything else that's going on around me.
Right.
But I can process my thoughts that are going through my head a mile a minute. Like I'm sure your wife, because you said it, Arlington said it to me, like we'd be in studio together and I'd just be sitting there and I'm looking off and they both would go, what are you thinking about? Nothing. I'm just thinking.
Now, I'm not really like that as much as I'm a brain dump person. To where,
see, that's my problem is I haven't done the brain dump yet.
So I'll call somebody and it's like, and I warn them, or even if you get an email from me, I always start, hey, this is a brain dump, and about 8 paragraphs later, and that's just, and I Yeah, it's one of those things to where you really have to, that's a self-control thing. I mean, to where you have to realize that not everybody thinks the way you do. And the quicker you can get to that, and I'm not saying that you think better or you think worse, we're just wired differently. I mean, okay, who starts an all-star game, and with the premise of, oh, I'm going to be just like the Senior Bowl. Whoa, wait a minute. That's a whoa moment, and you don't realize what goes into it. I mean, if you think about it, if you count on one hand or whatever, how many bowls there are out there, there's not a lot of us in this world that run an all-star game. So, and then right now, if you look at it, I'm kind of like the godfather of all-star games right now because I've been running it longer than Nagy's run the Senior. I've been running it longer than Galco's run the Shrine, the Tropical, the Hula. I've done it for a dozen years, and those guys haven't done it that long. And who am I going to model off of? Well, I mean, there just isn't. So you have to slow it down, and and like they say, just like in sports, the great ones know how to slow it down, and they can figure it out. And that's what I've done over the years is slow it down and look at like our event right now. We've tweaked the event so much that we can't tweak it anymore. So we have to tweak around the event.
And doesn't that irritate you that you can't tweak it anymore?
No,
and you got to find different ways to tweak it.
No, it doesn't because of the response we got. I mean,
Okay.
We had 177 scouts. That's the most scouts we've ever had in 11 years. I mean, how can I say, oh, we didn't do well or we have to do better? I mean, I want to punch my own self in the face. I mean, it's crazy to say that. However, it's like anything else. Okay, you cook a steak, right? And it's the best steak you've ever cooked.
Yes.
So why would you mess with it? So let's put some potatoes on the side and some carrots over here and, throw a little sauce on it or whatever. But the steak itself stays the same.
That's right.
It's just what you surround it by. So that's what I've learned how to do is leave the steak alone and put the fixings on the side and build the event that way. And that's what we've done. We have a mentorship program to where we take about a dozen to a dozen and a half people, because sometimes they're college grads, sometimes they're grad students or they're 25 or 26, and we run them through CGS. And we don't do the scouting breakdown like, oh, this is how you break down a player and this is how you do. No, we teach them how to network. And out of the last 4 years, we've had 8 people hired, and that's impacting people and showing them a different route. And that's why I'm saying you can't always, like they say, there's several ways to skin a cat, and you just, I'm just not stuck on how people used to do things. And that's what kills me is just people want to fall back on that. Like they say in sports, would they say people rise to the occasion? You hear that all the time. People don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your training. And sometimes people, they fall back on their training, and sometimes their training is good and sometimes their training is not. And when you're neither, you got to make your own way, and people don't want to do that. And that's where it makes me, I feel different, is that I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to try something. And it's the people that are sitting there waiting for me to fail that are, they're limiting themselves through me. Oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. That's your limit, not mine, so I'm sorry, I get the rambling, but
no,
the only reason I'm saying that because I've been on him about that. I've been on him about failure. I've been on him about saying, listen, dude, so what about everybody else?
Right.
Those who do not matter. This is what we got going on. And I'm hoping that hearing him saying it to him is just becoming confirmation, and it's been needed. And
well, I mean,
this is blessing me more than anything, man.
Well,
like,
I'm flattered.
This whole thing unfold,
So it's funny. Like, I'm not afraid of failure because I know failure is a part of life.
Right.
The guy next to me, he's a little more scared of failure. I'm like
paranoid. I'm paranoid.
It's funny that you say that you started GCS, right? Well, I started Fuel Sports Network all on a dime because this guy here on our way to the studio was playing TV Tycoon. And he was like, I would love to own my own TV network. And I'm like, why don't we just start one?
That's right.
Oh, that we can't do that. I'm like, bullshit, we can't. We're going to do it.
That's
and then
right.
we did it. And he's just like, We got to slow down. I'm like, no, we don't, dude. We just got to do it and do it. Just put it out there. You know what I mean?
And you just can't be afraid of what people are afraid. Like my mom, hardest working person I've ever known. She's worked 2 jobs. I don't know anybody that's worked 2 jobs and retired from both of them after 30 years. I mean, that's amazing. And that generation doesn't understand that there are still jobs out there that haven't even been created that we're probably doing right now, and somebody will title them, 5 years from now. GM, there wasn't a college GM two years ago, but guess what? I'm one now. Director team operation. There wasn't that 10 years ago, but guess what? I did that too. And so there's always that thing. And she always will call me a dreamer, God, you're dreaming, your head's in the clouds. And it took for me to be about 40, 42 years old. And I was doing something. I was starting CGS. And she goes, there you go, dreaming again. And I go, well, Mom, didn't I do all the stuff that I said I was going to do? And I said, wouldn't that make me the doer? And she really kind of stopped, like, whoa. I mean, like I said, that was her whoa moment. Like, I guess you're right, because, and she even says, you're a risk taker. And I'm like, I think everybody is a risk taker to a point. But the whole risk has to be calculated. I mean, there's nothing wrong with calculated risk. However, sometimes you gotta leap before you look. And if you can plan yourself to oblivion to where, it's paralysis by analysis and you don't get anything done. And sometimes you just got to pull the trigger and go. And that's what it was with me with CGS. I took 3 months, from that time that bowl was done, it took me 3 months, and I thought I was ready. And when it was all said and done, I didn't have a freaking clue.
Nope,
I didn't have a clue.
Nope,
and
yep.
And now it's funny. I have people that want to. I had and I won't tell you who, but a very famous NFL agent hired me for a month at a pretty good rate to milk my brain about CGS, because he was thinking about starting something like that himself and doing these things. And then he was thinking about buying CGS. And this was about 4 years ago, I guess. And, we went through due diligence and, all the discovery and everything like that. And this guy could have bought me 5 times over, probably, I imagine. And he told me, he said, well, I'm not going to buy you. And I was kind of like, I really wasn't too bummed about it, because I really wasn't ready to part with it. But, you got to get that look like, oh, whatever.
Man.
Right. And so anyway, he says, I'm not going to buy you, but I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, if I buy you by the event, I have to hire you. I have to, because everything about this event is you. The thoughts, everything comes out of it is you. And he goes, I'm not that damn creative. So not only am I going to buy you, but I'm going to hire you for a salary, and I'm going to keep you for another 2 years to just think and so he goes, I don't know if that's worth it. And the third thing, that's most importantly, it's too much effing work. That's what he told me flat out. He goes, it's just too much effing work. He goes, I don't know how you do it. And it's just like anything else. I got a buddy of mine that wants to do, oh man, I want to do what you do, man. I want to own my business, blah, 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 blah. I go, okay, what do you do when you get home? Well, I go home, I crack one open, and I watch the game, and I spend time with the kids. I get on the game, blah, 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 and I go, well, this is what I do. I come home, regardless of what job I'm doing at the time, I spend about an hour with the fam. We'll eat dinner, do whatever, and then I'm on it, and that's the things that people don't see. They want the finished product, but they don't want to put the work to get to the finished product. And I said, if you're not willing to do that, I mean, my mentality was, why in the hell would I work my ass off for somebody else and not do it for myself? I don't understand that mentality. Oh, I'm tired. No, I'm not tired. I'm the boss now. And, right now we don't have any breaks. This is what we're going to do. And I've always prided myself, with being the hardest worker in the room, not the best worker, but the hardest worker. And you have to do that for yourself. And people don't want to do it. People fail for one of 3 reasons. Can't, won't, don't. Can't do it, won't do it, don't do it. And you just, everything you've ever done in life, you have to look, okay, you didn't play in the NFL. Why? You can't do it. And that's just a physical. I mean, and it's okay. At least you know the reason, but the won'ts and the don't do it are pretty much motivation, you know.
Wait, good grief.
I'm just going to give this is the X Fan Show. We are your host. I have Spurge right there. Is my partner in crime, the one and the only.
Train Arlington Lane, man.
And right below us is possibly one of the most motivating people and inspirational people that we've ever. I mean, I literally have goosebumps from my head to my toes. One of the hardest workers. He is the new GM of Florida International University. He is the executive. He is the executive director of College Gridiron Showcase. You know, I mean, look, like right here, what people are saying right here, UFL league promotion poster at least. And he's going, yes, he is. Jose, I don't know how much more time you have with this, but I mean, we could keep going.
No, I'm here. I mean, like I said, I'm home. I'm actually in Wisconsin right now. I put the coaches on the road recruiting, and I still have to move down to Miami. So I'm home and trying to spend time with my family and trying to figure out where I'm going to live when I'm down there.
Okay, so let's get to that. Let's get to that. You've done all of this streaming stuff. You created GCS out of nothing. Mm-hmm. You created the San Antonio fan base out of nothing, just with your hard work, sure determination. Now you are basically the GM of a major university.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Ain't it cool?
Yeah. So what is your mindset there? Look, you got Chris going. I am highly motivated.
Oh,
so what was the first thought when they said, we're creating this whole new job? You're like, oh, damn.
Honestly, holy crap. I mean, I said the expletive, but it was.
Well, we're after hours, so if you wanted to say shit, you could have said shit.
But it's literally, literally, you say it and then you do it. You're like, holy, and then you're like, oh God, I just messed myself, because it's a lot. It's daunting because you don't really realize the magnitude of the job until you're around other GMs. Like a buddy of mine just got the GM job at Coastal Carolina, and he's been with Kansas and whatnot, and he was in it already, and he was like, well, I'm going to go do this and how are you doing? I'm like, man, I've never been on a job before to where I feel like I know everything and nothing at the same time. And that's just the plain truth, is that I go in that building with experience, yet, and I told the staff this, you bang out your resume because that's what you do in football. Everybody's got a resume, everybody's got a pass and blah, blah, blah. I coached 10 years of high school football, 3 as a head coach. I've coached college football for 12. I've coached indoor football for 12, 9 as a head coach. I've been in the XFL for 2 years. I've been a athletic director at a junior college for 2 years. I've been an assistant AD for 4 years. I've done every job there is in a football program: head coach, coordinator, special teams, position coaches, operations, recruiting. So you're not going to dazzle me with what you're bringing. However, I've never done this job before. So I'm going to need your help, to help me shape this thing and where it's workable for everybody. And I think they appreciated it, because I could have came in there and big boyed the room and say, put my age out there, put my resume out there and say, I know this and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't work that way for me, because at the end of the day, it's like CGS. Yeah, I pay the bills, but I have a great staff. And for me to sit there and say, well, it's going to be my way or the highway, and, I pay, so I say, and it doesn't work. So you have to come in very humble and knowing that at a moment's notice, you could instantly blow something because you don't really know what's going to go on. So,
listen,
it's amazing that it is daunting, because, I just talked with the GM of the University of Miami today, and it was like, you're on the phone with another, somebody in your profession, and they're saying the same thing that you're saying, that I don't know what the hell's going on here. We're just trying to figure it out.
Okay, so you say that because this is something new for a lot of these colleges.
It is. It is.
So are you guys so you guys sitting there, are you guys meeting in compare, like, so what is it that you're doing to create this job? Like you just said, I'm like, okay, great, I got it. Now what do I do?
I busy myself, and I say I busy myself with things that, I mean, I look at the whole job as a whole. What am I here to do? Number one, my main job, and like I said, you don't realize the magnitude. I was reading on ESPN, and they said currently today, 2025, the most important hire a coach could make, head coach, is not the coordinators, it's the GM. And that's impactful. Like, holy crap, you got mass media saying this. And, we got people in the building, and I think there's 4 of us, I think, that are on the staff that aren't from Florida. So you got to deal with that. And I say deal with that because I'm a Midwestern guy. And to me, anybody in the South, sometimes they get about as country as a sugar sandwich. So, I mean, you really got to deal with that. And not that I'm a big city guy, but it's, I don't say fixin'. And I don't say y'all, and so I have an accent, but you have to kind of sift your way through. But it's people. We do this as people. You ask somebody what they do, and we subconsciously, once they tell us, like if I'm on the show because of what I do, and if I said I was a janitor at Walmart, I probably wouldn't be on the show. However, if I say I'm a janitor for Dwayne Johnson, that's a little different of a deal. So we instantly decide how much respect we want to give people. And that's what you walk into with that job. You're the GM. Oh, well, you're the GM. When I first got there, it's kind of funny. I walk up there and I'm like, hey, is Coach Simmons there? And the lady's like, you're going to have to wait, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And so okay, and this was before it was even announced. And I went down and I sat down, and one of the ops guys goes, what are you doing out here? And I go, that's what she told me to do. And he goes, he's the GM. And then it just changed. Oh my God, do you want some coffee? And I'm just thinking in the back of my head, oh, you're the first one to go, but no, it's, you go in and if you come in humble, and you come in and you put your head down and you work, you're going to have unlimited success for something you have enthusiasm for. So I have a lot of enthusiasm. I tell them all, my family's not there. I don't know anybody in Miami. So don't try to match me hour for hour, because what am I going to do down there? I mean, as you can see, I don't need a tan. Shit. So I'm going to sit on the beach. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't do the strip bar. So I ain't going to be hanging out with Uncle Luke, and so what am I going to do? I might as well work. And time spent is quality received. So I'm hoping that the time I spent, I'm going to receive the quality from it. And who knows? And I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 3-year plan. I'm 54 years old. I have a now plan. And my now plan is if I use CGS and to work as hard as I can, because I'm making sacrifices. Not that I know nobody else is, but my sacrifices are important to me. So I'm not going to go down there and screw it up.
Well, one of the things I want to ask you, being as the general manager of a college program, who have you gotten insight from about the job, or, that they say, hey, can you help me out? Like, is there anybody that you've reached out to, whether if it's in the NFL, whether it's in other colleges, or whether
just don't say
friends?
Jerry Jones. Just don't say Jerry Jones.
I smile because ever since I've gotten this job, a lot of people have reached out to me. I mean, my old boss, Mark Ross, who was very, and it's really weird because I'm older than Mark Ross, but he was very motivational to me. And Doug Whaley reached out to me, Russ Brandon, and Mark Lillibridge, Will Lew. All these guys with great knowledge that I have a background with. It's been great. But the guy who reached out to me, I didn't even know. And I didn't even know he got my number, but Coach Charlie Strong reached out to me. Exactly.
Wow.
See, when I say that, it was like, oh my God. And my wife was, I literally fanboyed over Charlie Strong. I mean, and I worked with Dwayne Johnson. I was like, okay, what's up, brother? How you doing? But Charlie Strong, I mean, he's an epitome of a black coach's career, of how doing it right. And I mean, and we talked for an hour and a half, and it was awesome. And the insight, and he's never been a GM. I mean, and he wasn't really so much giving me insight on a GM, just being who I am. He goes, obviously you got the job for a reason. He goes, and the reason why he was calling me is because one of my kids from CGS wanted to be a GA, still does want to be a GA for FIU. And Charlie is one of his references. And so he got my number, and I'm thinking about the kid. I'm like, I know you. So why do you need another reference? But I'm sure glad that he called Charlie Strong to call me. And now Charlie called me this morning, which was awesome. And we just chopped it up for like 30 minutes. And you find motivation where you can, but it's sure nice when people, he doesn't know me. He doesn't owe me anything, but to call me and to sit there and say, you know what, you're good enough is good enough. And that's, healing. And I say that to my kids and anybody I've ever coached is you're good enough is good enough. However, good isn't good if it can be better, and better isn't better if it can be great. And so that's all you need. But you get a lot of phone calls, and it's really weird. I shouldn't say this on air, but since I got this job,
we'll mute you then.
No, it's all good. But since I got this job, I've gotten 2 other job offers, which I thought was kind of odd, because I'm like, I haven't done this job yet. How do you want me on that job? And I'm not even really interested in that, but it just tells you the magnitude of what you're doing. And I'm not saying it's more important than being the last job I had, I was an operations manager for electronic warehouse, electronic supply warehouse. And it's a pretty big job. The warehouse was about $40 million. And, I had, 10, 12 staff underneath me, and because I knew how to do operations. And is this job more important than that? I don't know, but it's more visible. My screw ups are going to be pretty known to where Lord knows I screwed up a lot in that job because I don't know about electronical supplies. And all I can do is outwork somebody. But no, I do not take for granted the magnitude of the position, because it is important, because it's groundbreaking. It's not like they've been GMs around in college football for 30 years and I'm just taking over somebody's job, or somebody say, well, you didn't earn the job. I can tell you right now, out of all the people who I know that are GMs, they haven't done the path that I've done with coaching or administration or operations or recruiting. They just haven't. And I'm not saying I'm more qualified than them. However, I feel very strong with what I'm doing. It's just a matter of, I wish I had the 20 million in NIL money like some of them do. I wish I had the private jet to fly somewhere like they do, but we don't. So maybe this is where my niche is because of CGS as well too. I didn't start off with a bankroll to where I was just like, yeah, let's do this, pay for that hotel, pay for that bus, and pay for these food. I didn't have that. It was, I'm borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and I think I was even inventing some money after a while,
See, that's what pisses.
This is a $7 bill.
Right. That's what pisses Arlington off about me. The one thing that you said is just, you don't know how you're going to do it. You're just going to do it.
Right.
And when it comes to me, I'm like, we're just going to do it, dude. We're going to do it. He's like, but how?
Right.
And this is what makes us so great, is because, like he said earlier, I stole this question right from underneath him. I've been broadcasting with him since 2020. See how he's sitting there, he's looking at me. He knows.
7 years.
It has been 7 years.
Oh my God.
And we've gotten to know the way each other thinks. And so when I say it, he goes, just do it, dude. We're okay, fine. We're going to figure out a way to do it. Let's do it, right? And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So now look, Jose, we've kept you for almost an hour and a half, right?
That's fine. No, I'm excited.
Because here's what you said, and this is one thing that me and Arlington are very big about. You talked about family, and you're going to be going to Miami, very soon. So we do appreciate your time, because we could keep you on for another half an hour.
No, I'm good there. Everybody, that's the luxury of my household, is that
Okay, as long as Mama's okay.
Oh yeah, she's actually on her phone, and I think my boys are on their computers and things.
All right, well then let's keep going.
I'm yours. We'll keep going.
So you're creating this new job as a GM.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
You said it's a very high profiled thing.
Mhm.
I remember going to the first game in San Antonio where the Battlehawks played in San Antonio. I remember seeing you on the sideline. I loved that game. See, Sandy goes, there can always be a part two. I'm sure we'll get him again before. Okay, what's the timeout, Arlington?
The timeout is for, you said you love that game. Brother, we're going to be honest on this show today. Are we going to be honest?
Here, I'm going to be honest, Jose. You guys were kicking our ass. We walked out with the last minute 5 seconds.
Oh, my God.
And we ended up coming back. So for the entire 2023 season, if the Battlehawks were losing, me and Amanda left the game and they came back and won.
Oh, my
we would
God.
leave in the game in the minute, but they came back and won.
Oh, my God.
What I remember is watching you walk on the field. And when the team started coming out, and I could remember you looking around and feeling proud about what you had accomplished, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it going to feel like when you walk onto that field at FIU after doing all of this stuff?
It depends on which game.
That first game.
Oh,
you walk out there and you see this crowd knowing you helped get them there.
You mean our first home game or our first game period? Okay.
Your first home game.
Because I would say we play Penn State first game, and they're going to be firing live rounds in that one. They're going to be firing live rounds in that one. And it's yeah, exactly. It's still going to be, you got to remember, I have a humble beginning with football, because I wasn't a great, okay, there's football players and guys that play football. I was a guy that played football. And I say that with great respect to guys who are football players. And I remember being in the XFL, being in awe of being in the Alamo Dome. You know, I mean, I've watched the place, I've seen it, you know, several times on TV, and here I am, I'm on the freaking sidelines of the 60 some odd thousand seat place, or going to Lumen Stadium, or, you know, going to Camping World Stadium, going to all these places that you see on TV, and I don't take it for granted. And here we are, we're going to go to Happy Valley, and obviously, first and foremost, you want to make sure the check clears. You want to make sure that check is clear. And secondly, you want to go out and you want to make the game as short as possible. You know, if you got to run the ball on 3rd and 26, you're going to do it. You know, I mean, make the game short. And thirdly, you want to be able to come out healthy so you can go and play the games that you're supposed to win, or you could win. And but still, 100,000 people. It's the first game of the year, first staff. I mean, my goodness. I don't. You just, you could die at that moment and be okay, and know you've done something, and it's still, if I don't ever feel this way anymore about the game, I need to do something else. I truly do. And it's funny, Willie Simmons, Coach Simmons, he goes, "You're crazy." I'm like, yeah, a little bit of me is saying, we can kick Penn State's ass. I know we can. That's just me. And you know, but if I ever stop feeling that way, then it's time to do something else. And quite honestly, there's really nothing else I want to do. I mean, there's no retirement. This is my retirement job. I can be a GM for a college team for another 15, 20 years. And in fact, probably be better that late in the game, because I've already seen it all. So, I mean, I've already screwed it up enough to know that, okay, on year 15, no, I got it. But no, the coming out with FIU, it's going to be amazing, because we're doing new things. We're doing some initiatives with the alumni. T.Y. Hilton went to FIU, so we're going to try to bring those folks back. We're going to meet with the donors. So that's part of my job as well too. But just to go out there and go, man, I'm in the show. You know, I mean, it's amazing. How do you not get excited about that. And anybody who says, well, oh, we're just playing Penn State or, oh, no, man, you have got to get amped for this. And not so much like crazy, face painting and table jumping and crap like that, as much as as much as just knowing that this is what you've worked for. And I have a lot of people tell me, you deserve this. You deserve this. And I'm a little uneasy with that. I don't know what in life I deserve. But I do know what I've worked for. And I do know, like I said, what I'm prepared for. And to go out, is that moment going to be too big? Absolutely not. It's just going to be a great one, to come out and be like, wow. And I'm a journaler. So, I write stuff down and I imagine that's going to be a few pages, that I'm going to write just to be like, wow, here I am. I'm going to be on the same field as James Franklin, and I'm going to be talking shit to him just like I'm going to talk shit to his players. I'm going to tap the bear on the head or tap the snake on the head. I'm going to throw a rock at a beehive. Why not? We all can safely assume the outcome of that game will probably be them winning. However, we're going to make it interesting. We're going to make it close, and we're going to compete. And we just said this in the meeting. I don't mind losing, but I'm not going to get beat. Not going to get beat.
Right. So here's something that Mike says: the exciting part of the game, outside of building the camaraderie with the team, is the opportunity to prepare for your opponent, having the opportunity to learn about your opponent and the team too. Okay, so now you're a GM.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of helping, and like for you, like what Mike said, what is that important part there for you to learn that stuff about the other team and how you can help your team in the future?
You can't control what anybody else has. And I've learned that. So to me, I think it's all internal. Environment is everything. You create your culture, you create your environment. And like I distinctly remember back to 2005, the same team with Fred Jackson and Willie Simmons. We weren't necessarily the best team, like talent-wise. We had some good talent, obviously Fred Jackson and whatnot, but we were the best team as a whole. We were close. They hung out together. They cared for each other. They took care of each other. And I think if you create that, it doesn't matter who you play. You're always going to be a tough out. You will. And I think, yeah, it's going to be easy to monitor Penn State. We just all saw them in the playoff, and, we know all about the do-it-all tight end and the quarterback that's coming back and the defense. So that part's easy. You got to figure out who you are. It's just like anything else. We can lose to Penn State, and that's okay. It is, because as long as we bring it, we're okay. But guess what? If we lose ourselves, we're gone forever. We just are, and you just chalk it up. That's the season. If you lose yourself, and it's the same personally, with wives and girlfriends or jobs, you can lose them and you can get them back, because you got to work for it. But if you lose yourself, you're gone forever. And that's always been big to me, is culture and self-awareness. And I think if we know who we are, and we're a mid-major FBS team, that the program is only 24 years old. I bet you didn't know that. The college is only 52 years old, and a lot of people don't know that. So
no, they know that part.
I'm older than a program and a university that I'm working at. Yeah. So I'm older than the AD there too. So I'm really the old man on campus. But if you're self-aware with those things, you're always going to be okay. And I think that's, getting back to the Brahmas. We had some rough starts, and we built a culture, and we had some changes that we need to make. And once we did, and I love him, but my guy, Parker Romo, he makes that field goal against DC. I would put a paycheck. I'd put everything I own on us winning the championship. We'd have demolished we were playing the best football in the XFL at that time. The best. Nobody wanted to play us, and it was a missed field goal, and it happens, but anytime we can take DC, 30 plus points and run them out of our joint. Oh yeah. They didn't want nothing to do with us.
Listen, I was at a lot of Battle Hawk games. There's 40,000 plus and stuff like that, right? But that very first game in the Alamo Dome,
Yeah.
I still say to this day, and Amanda will vouch, and Arlington will vouch because he's been to the Battle Dome also.
I was there for the Alamo Dome game too.
That very first game that you had in San Antonio might have been. I mean, you guys only had 15,000 in there, but Arlington was that 15,000 not is just as loud, if not as loud, as the 40,000 at the Dome.
I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. There was at least 7,000 more people there than the 15.
I think the first game was like 18 or 19.
Was it 18? Okay,
right.
Well, whatever.
But yeah, it was loud, and it reminded me
of the Battle Dome,
St. Louis. Yeah, it reminded me the venue itself, the atmosphere, seeing off to the side with the VIP, seeing my man. What is his name? Shoot.
What are you talking about? Jorge?
Got the hat and stuff.
Oh, yes. I love him. He was
Jorge.
awesome.
See, I can think of it. It's been a while since I've seen him, and and Jorge, don't hold it against me, bro. Over there at the Horns Forward podcast, because he'll do that. You don't remember me, man?
Exactly. No, those people it was all crazy. And you get the Rock there, and I never forget. And we did some functions together, and DJ's always been good to me.
Hold on, Jose. You were in St. Louis, right? You'd been to the St. Louis game?
No, we never played there.
That's right, you didn't. But you heard St. Louis, right?
Oh yeah,
Chris. I'm telling you, I was at that game. Arlington, you were at that game. Arlington, was that 19,000 just as loud as the 40 for that very first game in 2023?
Absolutely, because it was the very first game. It was the very first time with that team on that field. It was professional football in San Antonio, and they were proud of what they had. Granted, the scheduling was weird and whatnot. Okay, but what was able to be placed in that stadium was loud.
Oh,
it was very loud. And I was impressed by what they were able to pull off with that game.
The fan base is just awesome there. Yeah, the fan base is great. No, the fan base is great. I mean, they did a good job with the places that don't have football, I think. Places like DC, you got too much stuff. Arlington, too much stuff.
Yep.
But St. Louis, I mean, that's a jolted market, man. I mean, it truly is. I mean, you win a Super Bowl and they take your team away. I mean, I don't know too many teams like that. I mean, that's just being real, And San Antonio, they're under the Jerry Jones law, and they'll never get an NFL team there because of Jerry Jones. And that's sad because I do think Texas is big enough to support the fan base. They proved that when they came over to Katrina. They treated the Saints like it was their own team.
Right.
I mean, how do you not get 50, 60,000 people in there to cheer for a team that's not even yours?
That's not even your team.
It's not even your team. And that was amazing. And for us to go in there and I never forget that first game, the little boy came out and sang the national anthem.
Yes.
Blew the roof off. I mean, that kid was amazing. And a DJ's out there and, gets the crowd pumped up. And he comes off and he sees me. And he puts his fist out and he goes, "Go get him, Jose." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And that was kind of the start of, great things, and that game was kind of a Greek tragedy at the end, but, it just was. I mean, how do you, it just was, you just felt all the air just get sucked out of our bench, in the last, was it 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes or whatever it was. And
90 seconds.
Oh my God. It seemed like it was 3 hours.
I know.
Like,
I was walking out
run the
when
clock,
it happened.
Run the clock. And it just, oh my God. I could not, we're just kicking their ass all freaking game.
All game you guys did. And smacked us around like a little bunch of little battle chickens on a barbecue grill.
Oh my God. And it's amazing how trajectories take you. Look what St. Louis did after that. Their playoff team, and look at us. We tumbled down. We had some assignment changes and things of that nature, and environment's everything. It truly is. And we had some coaches probably in positions that they didn't need to be in. And, it was just an interesting,
But
it was an
you
interesting
guys,
dynamic.
you sit here and listen, I know you rooted for your team last year.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, look, you came to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
You lost when it should have mattered.
Right.
It's because you could have had a home game. But then what did you do? And I told everybody, if the Brahmas lose to us here in St. Louis, we're screwed because they're going to come back and they're going to smack us. And what did they do? What did they do?
I mean, and I have, like I said, I have some affection because I coached there, worked there. Mark Lillibridge, who's the GM, I played football with Mark 30 years ago. So, I mean, we have a great past. In fact, he got me my first interview with the Packers when I did a personnel internship there. So, no, I'm always going to have, affection for the Brahmas. Doesn't matter who's coaching. And, in that situation was really unfortunate.
A little sticky?
Well, it was unfortunate. It was contractual. I mean, I don't know what was said, but, Hines did what he thought was right. And no one's going to fault him for that. I don't blame him for, I don't know what taking a $250,000 pay cut is like, so.
No, neither do I.
Right. So far be it for me to say he was wrong with what he did. However, the ripple effect was massive because, I mean, it's like I lost 2 jobs in a matter of 10 days because I got laid off, and they gave us severance, whatever. But then he hired me as quality control and this, that, and the other because he knew he could hire me at this and he was going to get all of that. And I could have done it for a year. I mean, I can do anything for a year. It doesn't matter. And then he gets fired. And so all the rest of us go. So it was a little traumatic, I mean, there's no shame in being down about it. I was very sad because it's not like I did a bad job and, you just get out.
You did a great job. But I mean, look, now you parlay it. You're the general manager of a university.
Yeah, it's deep.
So I mean, it is deep, but I mean, listen, I'm looking at all the comments and I mean, I just can't, I mean, everybody's like, this interview has been very motivational. It's stuff like that. Like Sandy, I know she's going to kill me because she's already texted me once, but she wants to know.
Okay.
What has been the highlight of your career?
And that's how we'll close it out. Yeah.
We'll close it out.
No. Wow.
Because you've had a lot. It seems.
Yeah, like. I've been very blessed, and when it comes to highlights, wow. I mean, you're talking championships that were won, people that I've met, places I've been. I would probably say, and it's probably an unorthodox answer, the highlight of my career probably would be choosing not to coach to be sure that my boys were good. And I say that, I mean, and I talked about this on the other show.
Yeah.
That my boys were micro preemies, born at 23 weeks one day, 1 pound 3 ounces apiece. And as hard of a time as that was, the reason why I say it was a highlight is because there was no hesitation, and there was a ripple effect. I mean, I didn't work full-time football job, until I went to the XFL, which was 16 years later. But it was a highlight for the simple fact of, I was doing this on a trajectory for coaching and everything. I just got married and the coaching was going well. We were, I was 15-2 with Fred Jackson and Willie Simmons, and I was doing interviewing for places, and it was very humbling, and it wasn't about me. And the highlight was, as much as I had a lot of people that wanted me to be around and wanted me to be involved, I had 2 little guys and my wife that needed me to be around, and for me to not hesitate. It reminds me of Jim Brown's autobiography, if you ever read it before. He loves the game, but the game loves him. No. And anytime I think I'm a little bit too big and what I deserve, and because we've all been jolted by this game, humbled by this game. And for me to choose, my family, I'm going to do that every day of the week, twice on Sunday. And the highlight by doing that, you plant a seed because you work and you work. And now I look back and they're 18 years old. They give them 15% chance survival. So, they odds and are and great. And
Oh no, the whole time. There you go. You're starting to glitch out. It's good, but people are still hearing you.
No, I was going to say it for me, taking that road, it truly humbled me to do the role that I'm doing today. I truly think that if they were born without any complications, I probably wouldn't be sitting in front of you today. Probably not. I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, that's just being real. I mean, that's just how I see it. And it's, everybody talks about what their why is or, my why is my wife and my kids, I mean, that they right now here, I'm going 23 hours from home and they're all like, yay, I mean, go, I mean, not for that reason, but, and I think that's the success. I've been married for 20 years. I think that's the success of my marriage is the distance of our jobs, because, I get away and then I come back and we're like fish. We go bad after about 3 days. It's like, get away from me, so, but, no, like I said, lots of highs and things, I roomed with Kurt Warner for 3 years, and we're still good friends to this day. In fact, I helped his sons with the transfer portal. Coach Fred Jackson, Coach Willie Simmons, won championships, coached a lot of great players, own CGS, own and operate the largest postseason college all-star event in the country, and not by design. I mean, so there's so many moments, but I go back to that front moment to where that trajectory of where my boys were born one way and it could have happened another way. And I don't ever take that for granted. So I wish I had one instant, because I got plenty of rings. I shouldn't say plenty, too much is not enough, but, I've won championships and I've got coaches of the year stuff. I've been an AD. I've done all that stuff. And now I get to do more. And I think they're a huge part of it because it's humbled me to where I don't take for granted that I'm a GM of an FBS school, and I say that out loud, and it's like, oh my God, I mean, wow, I mean, you got to get giddy about it,
right?
And if I didn't feel this way about it, I don't need to be doing it. I just don't, and so maybe that's a highlight is just having unchained, unbridled enthusiasm for the things that I'm doing right now. So. Sorry.
No, you're good because it makes me think of something because my best friend died of ALS.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
I remember a conversation right before he lost the ability to talk to me. And the closest thing I have now he's not really like a best friend. He's more like a brother to me than a friend. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's my brother sitting next to me. But when my best friend told me, he's like, man, he goes, do you know what I wish I could do one more time? He goes, I wish I could walk on the beach, hold my wife's hand and kiss her.
Right.
He goes, I took all that for granted.
Exactly. And that's 100% right. And I was always told if you live life with regrets, you've lived it wrong.
And I'm going to get really personal because the guy over here, he called me up one day, distraught and disturbed. And he says, man, I really need you. Now, this dude is in Houston. I'm living in St. Louis at the time. And I'm like, I'm on my way now. Give me your address. He's like, no, dude, I don't need you here. I go, no, you called me up. You said you needed me. I will drive however many hours to get down there to be with you. He's like, no, the one thing I need you to go here for me. It's like, I will be there. I drove the 6 hours because that man asked me to be there for him. So like you said, when your sons were born, you were going this way and then this happened. And that's kind of how it's been with me and this guy. The reason why I love the dudes because we've been through thick and thin together. When people said we would fail, I was the crazy one to say, "Oh God, dude, I want to give up." And then I had this bastard over here going, "We ain't giving up, dude."
And sometimes you
giving
need
up,
that. Sometimes you need that person, and we all have friends like that. I mean, it reminds me of that movie, The Town. Have you ever seen that movie, The Town?
Yes.
Where the guy's like, where the guy walks in and said, "Hey, I need you to go, and we need to hurt some people together, and that you can't ask any questions.
Whose car are we
and
taking?
Whose car are we taking?"
Yeah.
And we all have friends that way.
Yeah.
And I relish the fact that I can be a friend that way to somebody, and I have probably about half a dozen people that it's like, "Whose car are we driving? Let's go."
And I only have very few friends, and he's one. Well, like I said, he's not a friend; he's more of a brother.
Right.
So I really only have a few friends and a brother, so it's just that way.
And I'm a classic loner. I'm a popular loner, and I say that like I'm well known, but I'm not known well.
Yeah,
and I don't, and some of it's by design, just because it's not because I'm a private person, I'm hiding stuff.
I just don't like being around people.
No, I honestly love people. I like being around people. It's like my friends. Because I have a few friends, like the saying, just because they're cracked doesn't mean they're bad eggs. Those type of friends. And I remember a buddy of mine, and we're kind of like frenemies a little bit, and he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "The thing I like about you is you're the same guy every day, whether you're happy or sad, good things, bad things." And he goes, "You're consistent." And I said, "Well, I want to be known to be that, and I could be mad as hell and still function, and I'm not going to take it out on you." And he, and I said, "I trust you, and not so much that I trust you with anything. I trust you to be the person who I know you are, regardless of what that is." I mean, and I grew up in Section 8 neighborhood in Omaha with drug dealers, gangbangers and all the rest of that stuff. And I respected them because they respected me. I didn't like what they did.
Right. Yeah.
But I respected them because they respected me. And it's the same with anybody I deal with the business. And I remember a scout telling me at CGS, who I didn't think liked me. Not that it was important, but he was always kind of growly all the time. In about year 8, he tells me, he goes, "I'm just so glad that you're doing well, because you're one of the good guys in this business." And it kind of struck me, like, first and foremost, I'm thinking, man, there's really a lot of bad people in this business that you got to point me out like I'm a good person, like, wow. But I understood what he was saying, because we're genuine with what we do. So no, I don't ever take any existence. I mean, as I tell my son, we all have the same 24 hours. It's just what you do with it is your choice. You want to sleep it all away. You want to play video games. You want to trick it off. That's your prerogative to do so. They're your 24 hours, but don't complain how I spend mine, and don't be envious, because there's certain things that I have that you don't, because of how I spend mine. And I don't sleep.
That's what I tell this guy. That's what I tell this guy, man. I tell him, I'm like, bro, I'm like, and I tell it to everybody, like you say, like, everybody's like, they're like, they're always like, "You're so nice." And I'm like, yeah, but I'm angry all the time. It's just, I don't show it, because I want to make, because I don't, like you say, I don't know if the interaction that I have with somebody is going to be that interaction that's going to save that person's life, or make that person have a better day.
True, very true.
Regardless if I'm angry or not, I don't take advantage of the days that I have, because I only live for today, because I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm not guaranteed 30 seconds from now. I'm not guaranteed a minute from now.
Very true.
Only guaranteed the moment that I'm in at that moment.
And at the ladies' show, one of the ladies was asking me, because she goes, "You put motivational stuff on your Facebook."
Yes.
And she goes, "Why do you do that?" And I
still haven't accepted my friend request, by the way.
I am sorry. I have to look. I do a bad job.
It's all right. I already cried while you didn't see it a minute ago. It's all good. I still love you, man.
That means I can slide right in too, baby.
I'll just go and I'll just accept everything, because
you're good, bro. I'm on your LinkedIn page, and you put a lot of good stuff on there too.
I do that because, and she was asking me, and as I said, if I can affect one person that day with just something kind to say, then
Right.
so be it. Because I mean, Lord knows we all want to go there and say, shit, damn hell, and suck the world, and blah blah
Right.
blah 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 blah, and negative builds negative, and it's contagious. I mean, it's it's like getting a bad haircut or getting some bad food. What's the
Or
first
looking
thing?
like this.
Oh wow, look, there you go. I hear you. I'm jealous. I can't grow hair like that. But you do that, and what's the first thing you do? Oh, I'm gonna bad feedback that person. I'm gonna tell this person, hey, don't go. You start spreading it, and to each your own. But when something great happens to you, what do? You keep it, and you don't tell anybody or what have you. And then even doing a good deed for somebody, you don't need to spread the word on it.
He's one of the He's one of the first people I call when I do something good. When I do something good.
And so I figured that if I can impact, whether they're my words or not, and I do have some quirky sayings, as my wife calls them, Joseisms, I mean, and they do, like I was saying the other day, like you can always lead a horse to water, but
Right.
it doesn't make him a duck.
Nope.
She's like, never mind. You get the gist of it, but I just want to be able to impact people. And it's funny, my sons, and if you have kids, you realize the older you get, the dumber you get.
I got five.
And
Are you a boomer? Are you a boomer?
I was born in 1970.
No, but I'm saying, do they call you a boomer?
No, they probably call me worse. But
well, mine call me boomer. Mine call me boomer.
No, mine,
because I don't watch YouTube for my news.
No, my one son, I get dad, but my younger, I say younger, they're 2 hours apart. My younger son calls me Mr. Dad. Don't know where he got that from, but like I was saying, it's amazing how I can impact a lot of people that aren't in my household, but I struggle with my kids sometimes. It's humbling.
Now this is between dads, and I'm not that. Okay, I'm starting to feel a little slighted.
You don't have any kids?
No, he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any kids. But let me tell you something, Jose. Hold on, don't let him fool you. His little niece calls him up. Look, it's called a Pinky.
Oh yeah,
so Pinky. She's got Uncle A wrapped around his little Pinky.
So you're a dad in training. That's what it is.
Listen, she asked me. She just asked me the other
will you
day
take
for
me go
her
get
allowance.
some ice cream?
She just asked me the other day for her allowance. Guess who gave it to her? I did.
Wow.
Yeah, look, like right here. Look.
Hey, I'll tell you something, A-Train. If you don't know who the sucker in the room is, you're it.
Right. Exactly. See, look right here. Sadie says, you've impacted me. You've made an impression on me. I mean.
Well, thank you, Sandy.
Yeah. Jose, look, we've kept you for 2 hours.
I love it.
Listen, dude, you have an open door policy. Anytime you want to come back on the X-Fan show.
Well, you call me because, I mean, I imagine
you're going to be a busy man at this point, sir.
Yeah, bro, listen, with the inspiration the inspiration that you've given, the stuff that you did, I literally wish you and Florida International University some of the best success in college football. I'm not a college football fan at all because I've hated the NCAA forever because of the way they treated the athletes. But just because of you, I'm telling you right now, just because of you and the motivation and the way that you speak, I am pledging it now. I am pledging my allegiance to Florida International University.
That's right. Pause up.
So I'm going to have to go figure out a way I can buy some.
Oh, no. I'll send you guys some shirts when, just give me an address or
fitted hat. Has to be fitted.
I'll try. Our hat, the thing I will complain about that school, and I'm sorry, I know if we're running tight on time, but God, they're an Adidas school, and I don't own anything Adidas.
Oh, that's
nothing.
Listen, we run this network, so we could go as long as we could go. We can go 6 hours if we want to.
Oh, but God,
I got to get up. I drive a school bus for special needs kids. So.
Good for you.
I love it. And then I do this. Look here, right here. Sandy says completely agreed. A part 2 has to happen.
Listen, I want to get his Super Bowl pick before we.
All right, let's do it.
Oh,
Two teams you got that's gonna be playing in February.
Wow. I mean, I'll say two parts. I'd love to see somebody else different in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I'd love to see a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. I just don't think I just think Kansas City's Buffalo's kryptonite for some odd reason. And so Kansas City will get back there. And as much as I would love to see Washington win, I just think Philly's a little too. Saquon's playing great.
God, yeah, he is.
And he deserves to finish it off in the Super Bowl. Not a win, but he deserves that season itself. I mean, he could have broke Dickerson's record.
He could have
20 ways from Sunday.
But you gotta love him. He's like you. He was like, let the young guys eat.
Exactly. And
let the young guys eat.
And I would love to see him. It's amazing. And real quick, I'm sorry, I get on to this.
Because now I got to ask you a question because Arlington did it. And I know exactly what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're saying. No, go finish your thought because I was
going to say between Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry, they left teams and went to teams that went to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, and showed value for a position that everybody wants to poo-poo. And the teams they left were horrible
garbage,
horrible teams. And I hope that's a message to not that you need a bell cow running back, but you better pay a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you did.
Thanks, Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, Jose, you say you're a note taker. You got the Gridiron College Showcase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Help settle a debate.
Okay.
Tell me that Jaden Daniels does not deserve to be in the talk of MVP.
Say he does not, or he does?
That he does deserve to be in the talk of the MVP.
That's tough. I don't think so.
Oh, damn it.
No, I just don't. I think he played. I think he's rookie of the year every day of the week.
I get that.
Sunday. MVP, no, for a lot of reasons. Because if you look, okay.
Well, I need to learn how to watch football again.
No. I know. I'm not. I mean, okay. If you would have said like Sam Darnold, absolutely. You know,
I agree with you on that one too.
Or Josh Allen, absolutely. Lamar Jackson, absolutely. Those guys, because they've done something that has never been done before. 14 games and I mean, great seasons. And Darnold kind of crapped the bed in their last couple games, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, but
Jaden Daniels,
Daniels,
comeback victories in the last 30 seconds by a rookie quarterback.
True, I'll give you that. But the play that he did before in the other 59 minutes of the game got them to that point, and you kind of. They're on a streak, I mean, it's like
kid's good. The kid is good.
Yeah, and whoever scouted that did really well. I mean, I thought he was a better pick at the time than Caleb Williams. And I know people's like, well, you can say that hindsight. I was saying that before the draft just because of the system that he came from. And Caleb Williams, it's hard to double with the Heisman anyway, unless you're Archie Griffin and you're in the 70s.
Right, yeah.
But the thing is that is a perfect example of NIL money and thinking you've made it. Because you look at his senior season compared to his junior season when he was hungry and everything came. And then he got that Heisman deal and I'm in LA. I'm hanging with the Kardashians. I'm doing whatever it is. I'm Reggie Bush Part 2, but it's legal. And look at the play. Now, you could talk about his line. You could talk about the defense. You could talk about all the rest of that stuff. But guess what? Still the same guys that were there. Nobody transferred out because they won. And I think, and now you get Jaden Daniels, who's with LSU, who is obviously they suffered through Ed Orgeron and whatever that happened.
Right.
And they get Brian Kelly, and he doesn't do anything but what was asked of him to do. That's it. And that's all he's doing in Washington is doing what is being asked of him to do. I don't think he's winning games, but I can tell you what, he's not losing them either.
No, he's not at all.
No. I mean, and you got Terry McLaurin. You can't really go wrong with there. You got
I didn't know who Terry McLaurin was until Jaden Daniels came.
Oh no, he's always been there. He's like their Mike Evans. He's
I
a
agree.
solid player.
Look,
He's
now that
solid.
I've seen him after Jaden Daniels, but I didn't know who he was until Jaden Daniels got
no,
there.
he's
You
All
missed.
right, I will change. Okay, I will change my
Missed.
tune then on Jaden Daniels not being an MVP.
No, I think he's playing great. I just don't think he's to me, he's doing what Patrick Mahomes is doing.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes is not losing them games.
No.
He's not doing anything spectacular, but he's managing games in a fashion that, I mean, look at the other Super Bowl and the dominating wins. He was doing everything.
Right.
Now he's doing just enough. And same with Jane Dunn, like you said, last minute wins, doing just enough. They're not dominating anybody. You know, they're playing good ball. And when you play good ball, you know, it's kind of what you're supposed to do. But like I go with Sam Darnold or the rest of those guys, because winning 14 games in that league is hard.
Right. Especially in that division.
Hard. In that division. And okay, you had Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay all with double-digit wins. I mean, wow. I mean, one game and you could go from first to third in your division to where, I mean, so
wait, who's your head coach again down there in Florida?
Willie Simmons.
Okay, you need to tell. We might have to talk to Willie. We're going to start a petition that before the Penn State game, that Jose has to give the pregame speech to the kids to get them motivated. Because I have a feeling if you do it, they're going to walk in there and they're going to smack the Nittany Lions where they need to be smacked. You're just a very motivational guy. It's ridiculous.
Well, I just try. Like I said, I have my moments, you know. I mean, I get down just like everybody else. I just don't stay down. And you know, you're yeah.
Speech. So here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna get off the air with you. I'm gonna get a phone call. Or the kids be like, "You son of a bitch, why didn't you let him finish any questions? You cut him off all the time." I already know it.
He think he knows me, but I ain't gonna say anything to him at this point.
No, you guys are
what's
awesome.
done is done at this point. Hey,
all right, Jose, we're gonna let you go. We've had you for 2 hours.
Shut up, because he won't let me finish his point now. So now I'm getting him for it. Now I'm penalizing him now. But at this point, it's like where we're at now. Anything goes.
That's right. That's right. That's
and
right.
So I will say to this is that Jose, I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you.
I get to your point on Jaden Daniels. I will say Jaden Daniels probably had a better season than CJ Stroud did the year before.
Agreed.
Still,
agreed.
Same, it's different. But that CJ's my guy. I'm a Houston Texans fan. I've been there for the last 3-4 years now. So I'm kind of new to the mix. It's like I didn't come in when they were having success or whatever, but I wish nothing but the best of success for you guys over there.
Thank you.
I'm definitely going to be paying attention to what you guys do. And
Pause
since you're
up, baby.
Yeah, with them Panthers, they popped up. So Conference USA is big. So nothing but success for you guys.
Thank you. And like I said, I'm humbled with being here, and I'm serious. I mean, call me anytime, shoot me an email, and you know, I'll make time, because I'm not in that position anymore to where I was the head coach where you're getting interviews all the time, and I'm just flattered people want to hear what I have to say and think it's of value, and I don't ever take that for granted, and I don't have a problem with telling people what's going on behind the curtain. You know, I don't, you know, because that's why you want to be here. And it's not derogatory and it's not a slam on anybody. It's just, you know, as I was told, I don't fight fair because I ask questions and I state facts. You know, I mean, there's no need to lie about anything. I mean, you just say it how it is. But no, like I said, I enjoy you guys, and I'm serious. I mean, you know, shoot me an address or something and a size, and when we get our stuff in, I'll mail you out a shirt or what have you. And you know, it's Adidas, so I don't know if you like Adidas.
Hey, whatever.
No
Listen,
matter
you give me the hat and stuff. We'll rock it right here on Fuel Sports Network.
That's
Hell, we'll
you.
send you a Fuel Sports Network shirt.
I'll wear it too. It's not Adidas, so I'm good.
Look, you want the hat like mine where it's Fuel on the back, because I don't have anything on the front because I only wear backwards hats.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
That, you know? Well, I mean, I don't look as good as you. Like if I turn it forward, I kind of look a little. It don't look as good.
I've worn a hat since I was 6 years old.
I have too, but
I
I played catcher in school, so I always wear my hats backwards. So.
Oh no.
Well,
Jose, tell people where they could find you,
Yeah.
all of that stuff, where they could find your school and all of that stuff, how they can support you guys.
It's FIU.edu. I mean, and that'll get you into everything. I'm on Facebook, I guess, and I guess I'm on Twitter. It's at Jose Jefferson 70, I think. And I don't get on there so much. So if you put a request out there and I don't see it, I apologize. Facebook is Jose Jefferson, and then the College Gridiron Showcase is on Facebook at CGS All Star. And then our email is like info@cgsallstar.com. But I think the Twitter is at CGS All Star as well too. So, and if not, I'll shoot you all that on an email and you can broadcast it somewhere. But I'm not hard to find. I'm like Prime. I'm not hard to find.
I see. I see that you have media credentials.
I do.
On there.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
How does one get to become a media credentialed for this fine organization?
Well, I can help you out. I sleep with the executive director's wife.
See, Arlington, it's like Michael Jordan said, you miss 100 shots you don't take.
That's right. But
no, great Michael Jordan.
Sir, I already know what you was doing when you did it. So I know
you guys. No, I already promised the ladies that they can.
You did.
So you guys, it's a fun thing. And real quick, I'll say, it's like Wall Street meets the Compton swap meet. It is just crazy.
Well, then I will fit in just fine. Fine.
You got all the kids there. You got the teams there. You got agents there. I mean, and if you guys broadcast there live, I mean, we have Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But you're going to see kids, if you're a college football fan or you're not, or you're going to see future kids getting drafted. You got tons of interviews there. You're going to walk across tons of scouts and see guys and be able to ask questions. And everybody. The goal is I never want it to be in competition with the Senior or the Shrine. I want it to be in competition with the Combine. And I think that's what we created there. Just a big marketing place. And now you add some media presence there. Trust me, you're going to get more interviews than not, and definitely would probably be more interesting people than me. Because do yourself a favor. Go to victoryplus.com. Watch some of the documentaries. They're about 47 minutes long. And you're going to see some stuff from me, but it's not about me. It isn't. I have excerpts every now and then, and I say things, but they interview my coaches, they interview the players, they interview my staff, and you're going to get a gist of what goes on there, and you're going to get some stories, and you're going to be like, holy crap. I mean, some of these kids, what they've gone through. I mean, you're going to see one of the stories. We had an openly gay player at CGS that started for K-State as a lineman. Yeah. And the funny part about it was he comes to CGS and he gives me a hug, and I'm so happy that you brought me here. And he goes, I'm going to earn my way. And I'm like, you already did earn your way, and I said, I saw you on tape. I think you're a phenomenal player. And he goes, but me being gay. And I said, I didn't know. I didn't think that, and I said, I didn't think that mattered. I just thought you're a hell of a ball player, and it kind of blew him away. And I said, if you are, great, welcome, and
more power to you.
Right, more power to you. And it's stories like that. And my sons are named Jeremiah and Jonas, and Jeremiah was named after Jeremiah 29 verse 11. And I'm sitting there, and what I do at breakfast, I try to sit with different groups and get to know the kids a little bit more, because I recruit them all. And I mean, we all recruit them, but I kind of get the head nod. So I'm trying to get to know who they are. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this kid, and tattooed right here, he's got Jeremiah 29:11. And I sat there and I'm like, wow. And I tell him about my sons, and I go, that's what my son's, named after. And we're talking, and next time another guy comes and he's got it tattooed here. And by the time it was all said and done, all three of us are crying, tears everywhere. And
wow,
those things you can't buy, you can't put on tape. And that's why I partially do it, because I get emotions from the event. Not that I'm not an emotional person anyway, but I try to stay pretty level. But the kids you meet, my staff, everybody, just do yourself a favor and watch that, because you'll understand more, not so much about me, about what we're trying to do, the people involved, the stories involved, and how, if you watch 2020 and then you'll watch this last one they'll put on 2024, you'll be like, holy crap, it's grown and it's changed, and you'll see so many different things. But and like I said, I ramble because I'm excited about it.
No, bro. I mean, I love it. Like when people ask about what fuel, Arlington gets irritated because that's what I do, is I ramble about fuel. And I remember Amanda and RC and Amber, they were like, don't cut Jose off, just let him talk. And I remember I look at her, I go, I'll worry about the interview. And then I know Arlington's like, God bless America, he's cutting him off, because you say stuff and I'm listening, it triggers me.
Oh,
that I'm like, oh, I got this. Like, you're talking about your combine. I'm on your website. You have one coming up in May. That's the one I saw.
I don't know.
Oh, no, that was May 2022. See, I'm
okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I know
he
we did
just did it.
Hooked on phonics didn't work for me, Jose. So I'm an idiot.
No, and like I said, it's a labor of love, and you know, I don't make any beans about it. I mean, I'm a for-profit event, you know, because people are like, oh, are you a 501c3? No, I'm for profit. I'm not going to do that. And but these kids, and that's where the NFL, or I shouldn't even say NFL, that billion-dollar company is at odds with me, because I asked them one question, and you'd have thought I'd have spit on them, but I just said, what are you doing for the college kids and their amateur status? Because they don't have one anymore.
Right.
And that was the reason why they didn't want me to charge kids to come to this event. And the reason why I charge them is that, why should I invest in you and you're not going to invest in you? I mean, I remember paying $300 to go to the Arizona Rattlers tryout back in 1993, $300 for one team. And this is 1993. And what we charge these kids, compared to all the things I said, you know, NFL, CFL, and they go on and on. If you take the teams and you divide the price, it's like $1.50 a team, you know, because of so many different teams that are there and the scouts and whatnot, maybe even $2 a team, or $2 a person or whatever. And if I took $2 at 22 years old and gave it to the Dallas Cowboys and said, hey, work me out, they're going to smack me in the face and take my $2, you know? And so we're teaching kids to invest in themselves. Why would you expect somebody to do for you and you're not going to do for you? That doesn't make sense to me. It just truly doesn't. But like I said, I've rambled, and you guys have been gracious with your time.
No, bro.
You know, and so like I said, anytime you feel I can help, or, you know, you want some interesting perspectives on life.
Maybe,
you know,
hey, listen, the UFL season's coming up soon. So maybe we'll get you on some of that, because we were going to talk UFL, but you've just been so fascinating in motivating.
We can leave that for part 2.
Right. Yeah. We'll leave that for part 2, bro. I mean, again, Jose, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Like I said, I'm an FIU fan, or, you know, FIU fan now. Paul's up, baby.
Paul's up.
And all that good stuff. Arlington, you got anything else you want to say? Because I'm hungry and I got to go eat some Emo's pizza. And I'm fat.
I hate both of you. I hate you because you get to eat. He's with family and stuff, and he's probably going to eat. I'm
done eating. We ate early before I got.
Is that how you lose weight? Is that how you stay in shape? Because I mean, I'm 250 and I got a barrel in front of me.
No, I weigh less now than what I probably. I'm way below playing. Like, I think I'm at 172 now, and
Jesus.
Yeah, I haven't been. I played at, I think I was 185, 180, 185, and then I jumped at about 175. I was an All-American long, high, and triple jumper. And that was about 175, and now at 172, I just, you know,
my leg weighs more than you.
Well, and I'm the type of guy I'm serious. I'm the type of guy that'll be driving home and be like, God, I'm forgetting something. Oh, I forgot to eat. That's me, you know? And so I don't have a food fetish. I mean, I like to eat, and my wife's a really good cook, and she makes more treats than she does like meals. And so I got to watch myself around that to her, but I haven't I guess to me at 54, I'm probably about as heavy as I'm going to be.
See, I have what's called a weight problem. I can't wait to eat. That's my problem.
As I say, I trust me. I wish I had that problem because sometimes she gets worried about me because I just don't eat that much, and I fast. I do fast, and it's kind of a half-ass fast because I do it during the sleeping hours. Like I won't eat like it's after 9. I won't eat until 9 in the morning. So it's a 12-hour that I'll do that, and I try to drink water. I'm getting better. But soda is kind of like a kryptonite to me. I do like soda, and popcorn is popcorn's a kryptonite. Candy's a kryptonite, but veggies are a kryptonite and I ruin veggies with ranch all the time, and I don't care.
No, man, listen, you gotta eat veggies with ranch. There ain't nothing better than ranch.
And and I do work out daily, and it's
I can't say that.
Well, at my age, it's more core. And I don't run as much anymore because I have an arthritic left knee, so I can't. My wife says no, and but I do love to run. But core, upper body, look good in a polo and some slacks.
Nope, not me. unless you like kegs, half barrels in front.
Yeah, well, we'll have to get you down to Miami and get you in that heat and.
I love Florida.
Okay.
All right. We got to go. Jose, thank you for joining us. Much success, much luck to the Florida boys down there, the paws up, and all that good stuff. This is the X-Fan Show. Hey, guys, thank you for sticking around with us for 2.5 hours. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed Jose.
Thank you.
Arlington, did you enjoy Jose?
Of course I did, man.
That just didn't sound right. Great interview, possibly one of the best one we've done in a long time.
Well, thank you. Like I said, you guys would be good, and if you need me, call.
All right.
Thank you,
all right, Arlington, get us out of here.
Good night.
That is Jose
Nice.
Jefferson, ladies and gentlemen. That's Jose Jefferson, ladies and gentlemen, with Executive Director of the College Gridiron Showcase, and he's the General Manager of Florida International University. Yeah, we're about to get out of here, man. Like, for real.
2.5 hours, bro. We have not done a 2.5 hour show in forever.
I don't think
we're going to get in trouble?
No.
I think we might.
Who?
I don't know.
The music's telling me differently. Because we untouchable.
Remember, you ain't got to be number one. You just got to be first.
This is the X-Fan Show. Right?
We love you.
Y'all next time.
Difficult could take a day, but in an hour I was finished. I've been sipping in them right now. Been killing since I was sneaking out of Diamond's house. On my ops turf, chilling right outside the house. Rebel mind goose bean, even got a vouch.